Thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate this. I just wanted to share a little bit about our partnership, and I wanted to share a little bit of how we work in collaboration with you guys. And you're in such an industry that is very interesting. So I wanted to share a little bit about. Tell me a bit about the company, how you pronounce it. I think I've made it. I've said it wrong so many times now.
Yeah, it's Speirs Finance.
Okay, and where did that come from?
So Speirs, to go back, we are originally a family-owned business, started in the Manawatu about 50 years ago. We've been in New Zealand. So the origins of the company, the Speirs family did the first vehicle leasing in New Zealand.
The first.
First, yeah. So the company's been through a few iterations, and in our current form, we've been going since 2014.
Okay.
Okay. So we have, within our business, we've got Speirs Finance. So we're asset finance specialists.
Okay.
We also own a vehicle leasing business as well,
Okay.
Ugo Fleet. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So just touch on asset finance.
Yeah.
Elevator pitch.
Elevator pitch.
What's the one sentence you'd say? What to help me learn or identify what asset finance is? Because a lot of people don't know.
So asset finance is about investing in working assets that are going to grow your business.
Working assets.
Help you achieve what you want to achieve.
Okay.
Okay. So we're financing things that make, move, produce.
Okay.
So it's all about investing in the stuff that really matters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the cool things in the early days when we were talking, you said to me was, if we can repo it, we can finance it.
Well, I didn't say repo. I said if we can move it.
Well, I called it repo, but yeah, you're right.
So the key. I guess there's some real, to break it down, basic stuff. We finance things that can be moved if they have to be moved.
Okay.
They have to be identifiable. So,
Okay.
They've got a unique number attached to them.
Okay.
Have to be working assets. But it's a very broad spectrum in terms of what we do. So to give you some context, this ducting that's going through the roof here in this building, this is probably not something that we could finance purely because it's attached within the building.
Right.
Notwithstanding that, so I've recently done a massive big spray booth, which is fitted inside another building. Okay. Because even though it's technically a building, that could actually come out if it had to. Yeah.
I see. Okay. And what are the benefits especially with our collaboration? And, for me, I know the value we give our customers. If everyone knows this as insurance, and that's fantastic, right? And I think a lot of times value, we can give high value at low costs. And people go, what's the low cost? Well, it's not actually reducing your insurance premiums or anything like that. But the high value we can give is actually connecting people with companies like yours. Yeah. And so for a person to go, hey, but I kind of deal with a bank at the moment, I kind of deal with a whole bunch of parties. What's the difference with you guys?
What's the key difference? And look, we respect relationships that people have, so we don't look to upset those. And in fact, we can walk alongside other people that they already have relationships with. Yeah. So the key thing, I guess, in terms of what we do, so we're asset finance specialists, and I guess we can say that quite loudly. Yeah. Because within our team, we've got professional valuers. Okay. So in-house, we have guys that can look at something that's 20 years old and say, hey, this still has a working life of another 10 years. Yes. We can lend on this piece of kit. Yeah. We've got one of the most experienced credit teams in the market. Yeah. So we've got guys that have got 20 odd years just doing this. Yeah. So we can work through stuff that other people can't. Amazing. So to give you an example, we recently had a deal. We were approached by an accountant. Okay. We had a deal that one of the banks had been kicking around for a month. Still couldn't provide an approval. They were an existing customer of that bank, $1 million deal. The accountant, in exasperation, reached out to us after being referred to us by someone that we know. We had an approval within 24 hours and drew it down the following day.
And it's because you've got these specialists.
Because we have these specialists, so we could actually get through and understand what was going on and knew that fundamentally there was an opportunity there.
I think the key word you touched there is understand. Yeah. And when we first, started talking, to sort of collaborate. One of the things you did really well was actually identify or understand us and understand our client database, and then started formulating a relationship. And I thought that was really cool and actually very unique. The amount of people that turn up to our offices or turn up to have meetings and they say, hey, this is what we offer. This is what we can do for you, and all that is great. And this is what we can do for your customers is great. But there was no level of understanding. And I quite appreciate that concept. And now you mentioned this again, and I think, that's your superpower. That's your little game changer. And I think it's great. Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the customers that we dealt with together early on, actually, that you asked me to help had the same issue.
That's right.
So they were struggling to get an approval with the people that they were with.
Yes.
And we were able to,
That's
deliver
right.
an outcome for them that meant that they could
That's right.
transform their business by importing something that, was a game changer for them.
Yeah, so. And we've had situations where I've like brought you into the meeting as well, because I've actually told the customer we can give you this offering, but they actually are specialists. And I've introduced you to a customer and we've had conversations, and there was just this level of peace, you know what I mean, for the customer. And I also, in those conversations, we were talking about things outside of the norm, because it was not a normal situation, and
that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on. We will do stuff that other people just can't figure out.
Really great. Now, recently we actually did an asset release deal, and it was actually new to me, and it was new to customers as well. But I think it's something that potentially might be a key to a lot of businesses at the moment. So could you share a little bit about it? What's the benefits of it? But I also want to know what's the not so good things, or not really not good things, what to think about. You know what I mean?
So that particular example that we worked on together, so it was a business that just had a short-term cash flow need.
Yes, correct.
So being a strong business, and they had some assets that were freehold, some vehicles in their business. Rather than sort of talk to the bank and stay on hold for however long they were going to stay on hold for, we were able to relatively easy, release a bit of cash for them to just provide that injection. So the benefit of asset release is a lot of people forget about the fact that they've paid for these assets in their business. They're tangible assets. They might need cash for a specific purpose. They can actually leverage those assets to grow their business. Might want to increase inventory. They might have some debt that they need to address, and it gives them an opportunity to use the tangible assets they've got in their business already.
Fantastic. Right.
So, probably some of the key things to consider about asset release, and I guess one of the key things too is we will lend on equipment that is a lot older than some of our competitors, because we recognise that it's still a valuable asset and has a good working life. And we'll also...
Sorry, is this the whole difference between depreciated goods and market value goods? Is it?
So, and look, some of our competitors will say, hey, look, we'll finance, something over 5 years, where realistically that thing's got a 10-year life of production.
That's it.
And doing it over 5 years, it's just going to kill cash flow. It's not. It's actually matching payment up with the productive life of the asset.
Okay, gotcha.
So a couple of things with asset release just to be mindful of. So if we're financing an asset to purchase, we might potentially be able to do 100% of the purchase price. So we did that one I was talking about just before, about financing something that the bank couldn't get their head around.
That's right.
That was $1 million, and we did that with no deposit.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
With asset release, we won't finance 100% of the value of the goods, so it's slightly lower. So we set a value and we say, okay, well, here's the value. We can lend to about here. The other thing to consider with asset release is a lot of businesses, if they have any sort of facility with their bank, an overdraft or any sort of term loan, the bank quite often will take a general security over the business.
Okay.
And essentially, it's a floating charge over all of the assets in the company. What that does mean is if you've got a truck that you've paid off and you think it's got nothing owing on it, and you want to realise some cash against it by an asset release, technically we have to ask the bank's consent to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just
And we can obviously, help the customer through that.
We talk so the customer doesn't have to do that directly.
Yes.
So we manage that process for them. So it's a process that we're very good at because we do it all the time. But it's just something to be mindful of in terms of your relationship with your bank. That they will eventually get it. We'll go through, we'll get it approved for you and say, we've got this ready to go.
Yeah.
But we do need to go and ask the bank to release these.
I'm not sure if you know about this, but that particular example that I was talking about where we just recently did it, I've been talking to them about this already.
Yeah.
And they thought, okay, that sounds good. They contacted your bank and tried to get this going with the bank. Yeah. And they really wanted to actually meet the bank.
Yeah.
And so the bank gave them a little calendar and said, book appointment. And it was like 3 weeks out. And then in the conversation, they said, okay, in 3 weeks, if we meet up with you, we want this project to go ahead. How long does the application process take? And they said, well, it can take anywhere between, 2 weeks to 3 weeks and all that.
Yeah.
They finally called me and they're like, dude, remember you talked about this whole thing?
Yeah.
How can we get it going? And a week and a half, in fact, I met with them and a couple of conversations, a couple of emails, and we got it done. So I'm not using that, it's a sales technique, but also it was actually quite impressive with that whole process. And that's something we value at InPlace in a sense of just making things a lot more effective and efficient. And well,
people are busy, right? And
that's it.
There's so many things that are complicated.
That's
so
it.
You just want to be able to get things sorted. So that's part of, and I guess that comes with our experience too. That we know what we do need. We don't ask for anything that we don't.
Yeah. So and I feel like we've been in a situation where we're like, oh, got this great idea. I want to act quick.
Yeah.
And you want to partner up with people that do the same thing.
Yeah.
Recently we've been talking to you guys about, this application process. How can we make it smoother?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we've got a meeting with your CEO, we've got a meeting with your tech team, and things are just flowing, and that's the partnerships that we appreciate.
Yeah, and I guess that probably reflects well on, your brand too, that, we've, after one meeting, and listening to your ideas, we're taking that on board and running with it. So, so we're open to change, and we want to just make things better for our customers and better for you guys to be able to do this. So, yeah.
Another game changer, which I've recently learned with you guys, is seasonal payments when an asset is financed. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So we will, depending upon a customer's situation, people might have, low period through the winter where they don't generate as much work. Another one that hits a lot of people is Christmas.
Yep.
The short weeks over that period.
That's the same as us.
So we can build into our structure so that you go down to a reduced payment over that period. So essentially you're just paying interest.
Okay.
And basically what happens is over the rest of the term of the loan, over the rest of the year, your payments go up slightly to basically set it out over the, balance it out over your 6-year term or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
The key thing is though, sometimes people don't know about those little things that come up, so that doesn't have to be said at the start. We can review it.
Right.
So if someone rings me up and says, hey, look, winter's tough, I'm not getting the work that I wanted to, we can vary that loan.
Yeah.
It's a pretty easy process. Just to give us a call and we can change that.
Okay. So something interesting though, you said that and just something just popped in my head. If I'm calling you guys up, let's say I've got a loan with you guys. I'm calling you and I'm saying, hey, I'm predicting December, January is going to be quite quiet. And I'm in my contract with you guys. Yeah. And you go, sure. This is how it works.
Yeah.
I think my perception would be that a finance company would look at me in a negative way because we've spent this application process trying to prove to you guys.
Well, I actually think it's, it's interesting that that's the connotation.
That's my personal view, by the way.
I think what experience tells us that things change, people's circumstances change. We're in a pretty flat economic environment at the moment. People are doing it really tough. So we know that, right? So we'll work with customers to basically help them get through it. It's in everyone's best interest that on the other, you go through these tough times, but you want to get back to basically a good time and making money. So no, it's bread and butter to us to be working with people and helping them through this sort of stuff. So.
It's really good to know, actually, to be honest with you, because, I mean, in that application process, we're trying to say, hey, we pay our debt on time. Hey, we do this. Hey, we do that.
Of course. But it's like, the day that someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to spend, $1 million buying this new piece of equipment, things can come up in blind. So you just don't know. Can even be, things like health and stuff. That's, so look, that's just...
Anything can pop up, right?
Anything can pop up.
And that key area is this partnership thing, right?
100%.
Yeah. It's the people that are on your business board table now. You got your lawyers, you got your accountants, your insurance guys, and then you guys come into play as well.
Yeah.
And I think all these parties are working in unison to.
Well, I mean, it's and it's your point there. I mean, what you guys are doing is a very critical part of what we see as a business's operation in terms of managing risk. Making sure that they've got that overlay and got the right things there.
That's right. Ambulance at the bottom of the cliff, right?
Yeah.
Hey, just finally, I'm going to be real cheeky and get your feedback on working with InPlace, working with us. How's that been? How's that feel?
Look, I enjoy. So I'm very passionate about what we do and what we can offer, and I think I like the spark that you guys have about your business. I mean, I can't really compare you with anyone else in the market in terms of just wanting to get out there and do what you're doing and do it really well. So that's there's a really good synergy between. We don't make any secret of the fact we're going to be the best at what we do.
Nice.
Wow. And I think that you guys have similar aspirations. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
And, a really good example was the fact that you've collaborated with our IT guys after, and you're looking to improve things for your customers and for us to be able to deliver a solution. So,
one of our values is the 3 wins, where we win for our customer, for you guys and for us. So even in the insurance space, we just move you guys out and put the insurers. All 3 parties got to win, and then you have a really good deal. And collaborating with your team internally and trying to find efficient ways that works for you guys and the customer, and which means less admin for our team as well is most important, So and it's all trial and error.
It is. But that's the beauty of you've got control over what you do, and we're a business that is dynamic and wants to change. So we're not set in our way. We don't want to do things the other way people do it. So,
I'm actually going to touch real quickly on this part, your fleet sort of program. We actually, I'm going to embark on this a little bit more, and I remember touching this probably a year ago. I asked a client, they had already signed up, and I was like, hey, can I just do a tester? I want to test you guys out. And I did it, and you gave me some results, and I went back to the client, and the client was actually really impressed with the timeframes, the understanding of how they wanted to structure things. And they just signed a deal, tell me a bit about the fleet side of it. Tell me what works there.
So I think, our fleet business is relatively young, but it's probably, it's punching well above, the rest of the market in terms of its growth. So it's outperforming its peers. So one of the key things that we win on is just the reporting and the features that we can give back to businesses about, their driver safety, efficiency. Wow. So we have a team of specialists that's their day job is just doing the fleet stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it's some of the products that we can offer in terms of that fleet space aren't sort of out in the market. So it's good. It's really exciting.
That's very interesting. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right.
So one of the things that the fleet guys are doing a lot of at the moment too is so essentially buy and lease back. So a lot of businesses might have invested heavily in having a vehicle fleet, but they're finding now, similar to asset release for asset finance, but they've got these vehicles sitting there, they've got they're sitting on their balance sheet, they've got a tangible value, and they need a bit of cash. So essentially what we do in those situations is we'll buy the fleet, and we'll lease it back to the business. And then over a period of time, we'll do a step out. So as those vehicles age, we'll replace them with new vehicles.
Right.
So it just means that you can take that off your balance sheet. You can get a cash injection.
Yes.
And you can get your replacement vehicles progressively.
Yeah, so, that's good strategy.
Yeah, it is a good strategy. It works well. It's worked well for a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. Would you have these kind of like, let's say someone signed an agreement, fleet agreement. What's the typical years they would have signed? 3 years?
I'm not a fleet specialist. I don't do the leasing side of the business. Let's just
say 3 years, right?
Yeah.
If I connected you with our clients,
yeah,
halfway in that 3 year, would you just have these conversations with them?
100%. I think the key thing, from what I understand, particularly in that leasing industry, is there's a lot of early repayment clauses.
Yes.
So, but we can engage early in terms of making sure that there's a switch out period. So there's a plan in place, and it might be that the swap out of an existing lease isn't too bad, but it's one of the things that you need to be aware of.
I think a lot of our customers value the strategy we come with, you know, so it's actually quite easy to go, what are your risks? Let's transfer that on an insurance policy, and then it's done. But there's another conversation that happens, which is, hey, this is the process. This is we're writing a Bible. Right? And if anything happens, we've got a plan. You know, and the same thing now this applies. So it's not really a risk transfer, but it's more of this is a strategy, this is a plan on managing your fleet process, rather than every renewal, let's talk.
100%.
Right?
So we, with the lease guys, I mean, they'll have a plan in place, a facility, and it'll happen over a period of time. So it might be that we've approved and they go from sort of anything from one car up to thousands, and it might be that you're changing out over a period of time. So 100% planning's get in there early and work with the customer to provide the solution.
We'll have a few conversations.
Sounds
good.
Hey,
thanks for your time, man. I really appreciate it.